running up the score.
Jerry Napoleonello.
This team has been on the clock for 4 months now. Why are we taking this down to the 4-minute mark? You know, you have 10 minutes here. 10 minutes here, but you've had 4 months.
The dude's got 1,021 text messages that he hasn't read yet. Did we not notice that?
Kevin Donlin.
Bryce Harper's a great player. He's very, very talented, aside from last year. But I blame myself. I'm pretty sure I'm the reason for that with fantasy baseball. That's disgusting.
Wow.
I can't believe that's real. I mean, again, I'm not. I shouldn't hate. I'm not going to be the kind of person that hates.
No,
He is doing enough hating for the both of us.
As a Cowboys fan, the expectations are so high, and it's just, you're dug into the ground by the end of the season.
You're basically like what the Patriots are, but like you try to do it, but you just don't.
No.
Yeah. At least the Jets, you know what I mean? They have excuses.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
All right. Running up the score, Jerry Napoleonello, Kevin Donlin. Now, I have to say, I don't think I've ever experienced something in sports like we all experienced yesterday, or actually Sunday night. Kobe Bryant passed away alongside his daughter, Gigi, his daughter's friend, Alyssa Altobelli, alongside her parents, Kerry Altobelli and John Altobelli, as a well-known JUCO baseball coach, Gigi's friend, Peyton Chester, alongside her mother, Sarah Chester, Christina Mauser, a Mamba girls' top assistant coach, and the pilot, Ara Zabayan. So first, we'd like to send our condolences to those families and, everybody that was affected by the tragedy. Obviously, the big name is Kobe Bryant. There's no mistaking that. That's just how it is. I like I just said, I don't think I've ever experienced something in sports that is of this capacity, I guess you could say. This was tough. I mean, as you could see, this really just didn't hit the sports world. This kind of hit all of us. I mean, Kobe Bryant was a very well-known player, person. He was a role model, an icon, a legend in his sport. This was a tough one for me, at least. And you broke the news to me. You texted me saying, I think Kobe died. And I mean, the first thing you think about is there's no way. How?
Well, when I had seen it, I saw the news article come from TMZ, and unfortunately, it was too early to confirm it. And I wasn't even sure, as you said. I said I think he had passed away, and it was very unfortunate. Kobe Bryant was a great basketball player. He was a great man and a great father, and a lot of the things that you don't see on national television on the basketball court that Kobe Bryant was able to do, that's what makes someone a great man. And anyone could be great at basketball and lift the spirits of an entire city. His basketball talent, there was no questioning it. But as a man, and we're talking off the court, and he was just a good man. And you see why in the sports world and on ESPN and all these different outlets that have posted, it's really hit the heart of not just Laker fans but sports fans and just the country as a whole. No matter who you are and how much you're into sports or how much you are into basically any kind of concept, it's just you knew who Kobe Bryant was, not just based on his talents. He did a lot of things, and like we said, he was obviously big with his daughter's life, and her dreams. We all have dreams in this world, and he had so many quotes, and I wish I could have wrote them all down because they were amazing quotes. when he talked about someone's work ethic and how, if you try to blame someone else for your lack of success, he literally said it the best way. And he says, I don't want to understand you. I don't understand you when you say things like that. And the fact that he said, I don't want to understand you, it's such a powerful quote. Because you know what, folks? We all have ups and downs in life. And, you can't sit there and start pointing the finger. And I love that, the fact that he didn't want to know who you were if that was your kind of mindset, And the mindset that he had was an incredible one. The work ethic and working hard. And if you have a dream, you keep working hard at it, and eventually you'll get what you want. If you just keep working hard, you can't give up. And again, great basketball talent. But when you're able to come out with quotes like that, it just shows how much of a great man you are, and just an understanding of how this world works. You can't sit around, blaming the whole world for your struggles. If you have struggles, you find ways to rise above it. And I think that's where Kobe actually hits the heart with me. I'm not a Laker fan. He was winning champion. I'm a Celtic fan. So, Kobe Bryant being on the Lakers was not a pleasant thing for him. He was a great player. And, he made the Lakers a threat every year. But it goes beyond this. We're fans of a sport. It's a sport. It's a game. That's all it is. But when you talk about life and death, you don't want to see someone that great, that inspiring, and that uplifting go so soon. And at 41 years old, the guy still had, he still had another half of his life to go. And it sucks is probably the best way to put it, because there was so much this man could have done. And, we've seen what he could do on the court. We've seen it so many times, what he could do on the court. But the impact that he'd be able to make off the court. And you could tell, because you see, again, like I said, these big names that knew him. Yeah. They are really hurting. And you don't just do that by getting a ball through a hoop. You kind of want to be that person that people, you make the people around you better people, and just a great, it's hard to explain. Yeah. But you make the people around you better. And that's what Kobe Bryant was. He had an amazing mindset. We talk about Kobe. It's unfortunate, that he lost his life. It's unfortunate that his daughter lost his life, her friends, their parents. My thoughts go out to all the families. It's a really crappy situation as a whole.
Yeah, I decided to name every single victim in this crash, because I don't want to be like the rest of the media, where it's just Kobe.
Well, between you and me, the media did not make this pleasant at all. And,
no.
I don't need to see a video of LeBron James when he finds out the news. Yeah. And I don't like the fact that they put that up. That's a private moment. And, that's a moment that really should not be aired for the whole world to see. I mean, people just know that when they found out about Kobe Bryant, they were upset. I don't need to see other people getting upset. Like, what were you trying to do with that?
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with TMZ, coming out with that before anything was confirmed was an embarrassment. It wasn't just Kobe. Like, it wasn't just Kobe Bryant. Like, there was other people in that helicopter crash, and it wasn't even what they said at first, because first it was Kobe Bryant, dies in helicopter crash. Then they finally confirm it. Then they say him and 4 others. Then they confirm it and say that. Then I got news that all of his daughters were in the helicopter. So now you're like, the whole process, throughout the first news of it breaking to the actual confirmation that there was actually 9 people in the helicopter, it was like pulling on heartstrings. I mean, like, you you first hear Kobe and you're shocked, you're upset, you're mad, however, whatever, emotion you were feeling. Then all of a sudden you hear all 3 daughters. Then it was just one daughter. Then it was 9 people. Then it was 5 people. Then it was 9 people. Like, it was a roller coaster of emotions. People that know me know I was a huge Kobe guy. I mean, I had people texting me seeing if I was all good because of how big of a Kobe guy I was. I mean, I had a big fat head on my wall of him from ceiling to floor. I've always been a Kobe guy. I've been a Lakers fan since, I can even remember, the first time watching sports. And at that point, Kobe Bryant was on the Lakers. And I've gone through so much as a Lakers fan, watching Kobe Bryant, and everybody knows, that I'm all about the guys that really nobody likes. And, obviously,
I had my reasons for not being a fan of Kobe Bryant.
No, that I understand. But like, even just, as a Yankees fan, like, you're expected to like Derek Jeter. And because of that fact, it's not that I didn't like Derek Jeter. He just wasn't my favorite player because everybody liked him. With the Cowboys, everybody was supposed to like, Jason Witten or, just Terrell Owens or whatever it was, and nobody really liked Tony Romo. So Tony Romo was my guy. Kobe Bryant comes up and he's partnered up with Shaq. And Shaq was beloved by Laker fans, and kind of Kobe, for some odd reason, people put Kobe to the side because of Shaq. And that just kind of drew me to Kobe. And, I'm not going to lie and say that, this wasn't tough or, I'm telling you right now, I did shed a few tears, because, someone that big of a legend, that big of a name, that big of a celebrity, they're not supposed to die.
Well,
they're not supposed to die at that age. And that's like, and now just going through it, we're 2 days from his death, and still, I'm watching videos over and over again. And I know whoever follows me on Twitter probably hates me now, but like, just watching videos, and you're still like, I'm still just, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to react, because it's just like, he's not supposed to die. Kobe Bryant's not supposed to die.
Well, see, that's the perfect example of someone that was very inspiring. Again, like, you might have loved him, for his ability to play basketball, and you were a great Laker fan, and, but he was a very inspiring person. Obviously, there was, the troubles he had early on, and that's the beauty of this whole thing right now, because this whole, he passes away, and nobody, because of the legacy he left beyond his troubles when he was a younger guy, that we don't even talk about it because of how amazing of a person he was off the court beyond that. Okay? It shows to you in this world that people make mistakes. Okay? We all make mistakes. I've made plenty of them. It's how you're able to respond to it. The whole world wasn't a fan of Kobe Bryant for a little bit. You know exactly, with all these stories that were coming out. But now he has passed away. You see that the world's perspective of him, because of what he was able to do on and off the court beyond those younger days of his, and how he's able to inspire others. And it shows to you that people can make mistakes, and it's not the end of the world. And Kobe rose above that. Kobe made mistakes, but he rose above it.
The greatest thing that I feel about watching Kobe Bryant was just how his his game evolved. You know, the beginning of his career, obviously everybody knows, you know, the air balls against the Jazz.
You work harder, and you're going to get better.
That's
and
what
you're going to achieve your goals. That's what his whole quote was about.
I mean, that's, you know, that's what it comes down to. Like, he just worked harder than
anybody else. And that's what you need to do.
You know, it wasn't even just, I mean, there's videos out there. Like, you see the one video that's edited between him and Jordan, and just them doing the same exact moves. Like, it was mirror image. Same exact moves. You know what?
It was probably a lot of film watching and a lot
that's
of work
what
on the
Kobe
court.
was about. Kobe, like, each season he worked on a different thing. You know, he would work with different players. He just constantly worked with legends of the game. You know, Olajuwon was one of the biggest guys that he used to work with just for his post game. Like, he was a shooting guard, 6'6" shooting guard, and he's working on his post game. Not many shooting guards are working on their post game.
And that's like LeBron does the exact same thing, but that's what makes you one of the greats. And I think that's what really, honestly, being a fan of just the sport, and you know, I'm not a Laker fan. Like I said, obviously I was a Celtic fan, so the Lakers were arch rivals of us, and
it was cool that it kind of, you know, it started out, obviously the rivalry was from Magic and Larry, but it kind of transformed because that's when you know, the Celtics got good. Mm-hmm. The Lakers were getting good after, because, you know, you had the few years in between. You know, after Shaq left, you had the few years in between were pretty tough, and then, you know, the Lakers they absolutely fleece the Memphis Grizzlies for Pau Gasol, and they end up picking up Gasol, and then they went on a run, and, you know, we go up against the Celtics. They lose the first series, you know, the first year. Then they go back, play again, and the Lakers win that next year.
I don't want to lose this train of thought, but what I was trying to basically say was that, you know, throughout the whole time that basically, you know, Kobe and the legacy he left behind and everything, you know, he showed that, you know, the world could end because Shaq left. Yeah. You know, it could be over now. The Lakers are done. Shaq's gone. That's it. You know, Kobe's still there, but, you know, he needs help. That was never a mindset of his.
No.
How can we get this team better? Okay? Maybe it was personnel. Maybe it was something he needed to do. But let's get better. And that's why this hurts so much. Because there's no doubt about it in my mind that Kobe Bryant should be in the National Basketball Association Hall of Fame. And you knew he was going. And what makes this so sad is that you wanted to see him get that honor. And I wanted to see his reaction and his speech, because I can promise you folks, it would have been a very, very inspiring speech, because he's had plenty of them. And that's, for me, and we're talking to someone now that was not a Kobe Bryant fan, because I rooted for the team that absolutely was, you know, they were absolute rivals, no doubt. You know, you couldn't have disliked him as a player, obviously, more than me. And someone like me is very hurt by the passing of him, because of what I just explained to you.
Yeah.
How inspiring and how much of a good man he was. I mentioned the mistakes. I will never mention to you right now on this show what they were, because they don't matter anymore. He cleared that big time. And that's what makes him a great person. You can learn a lot from him. He's a very inspiring man, and that's why this hurts all over the country. It doesn't matter if you rock the purple and gold, the green and white. Unfortunately, the orange and blue, if you're from New York. I mean, we're two New Yorkers that do not support the orange and blue.
No.
But it didn't matter what colors you supported. You knew what kind of man this guy was. You knew how great he was. You wanted to see him go to the Hall of Fame, and you wanted to see his, speech, and it's super unfortunate. It really sucks. And it's just, again, like he was a loss of words, and now I'm at the point where I'm at a loss of words because, you're inspiring when someone who's a fan of an opposing team, probably the absolute rival in sports, Lakers and Celtics, and I'm waking up in the morning and, the day after he passed away, and the first thing on my mind is that.
Yeah, that was absolutely the first thing on my mind.
It's common, because you're a Laker fan.
Yeah.
But we're talking I'm a Celtic fan.
Yeah.
And I'm literally telling you, when I woke up in the morning, the first thing on my mind was, I can't use the exact language. I was like, holy crap, I can't believe he passed away.
Yeah, when, after you texted me, I went a total search. It was all over Twitter. It was everything, searching channels, anything to find out if this was true. When I finally found out,
sorry to break that to you like that, and I, obviously, I was at just as much shock texting you this, and I honestly wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I was basically going to my number one, source and let them know, hey man, what's going on,
and
it was just too much of an unbelievable thing to even think that could even be true.
And I kind of I shut down because everybody knows, like I said before, everybody knows that I was a Kobe guy, but I don't think anybody really knew that he was my favorite athlete, period. Like, out of all my sports teams, all of that, we're talking, how big I am with Tony Romo. We're talking how big I am with Alex Rodriguez. Kobe Bryant was those guys and more for me. He was like intense. I loved Kobe Bryant, and I was gonna get to exactly what you just said. And Kobe Bryant, he accomplished everything in his career, everything. But there's one thing that he will never, ever accomplish. Or he will accomplish, but he'll never be able to be here to see it happen, is getting into the Hall of Fame. And as you said, you're fantasizing about what his speech was going to be like. You're what he was going to say, who was going to introduce him, because they talked about Shaq, they talked about Michael, they talked about Phil. It could have been either one of those guys, and just, just watching every channel, listening to all the sports radio channels, and hearing different stories from different players or different people. Jimmy Fallon had, he's not a sports guy, but he had a great story about Kobe Bryant.
Honestly,
but
it made him a legend. I actually heard about it.
Yeah,
too. It was great.
Saving
a party.
Yeah.
for a beer run. That is.
But he was a
legendary.
Rookie. He was a rookie too.
Hey man,
that's a
get your name known, man. Save a party in L.A.
Just slap your picture on the window and say, I'm a Laker. Just, it was just crazy. And then just to see, the reaction of, all these NBA players who, in their own name are big time players. Guys like, LeBron or guys like, Shaq or anybody like that. Like, just, Dwayne Wade. Just, seeing tears come from them over a guy like Kobe Bryant. Just, what kind of person, what kind of competitor, what, just everything about Kobe Bryant, what he was to everybody. But the biggest thing I think that everybody has said, and I wanted to get to, I just wanted to talk about his career. Now I want to get to his post-career. Everybody talks about, what kind of a father he was. He kind of, after he retired, he kind of took a step away from the game. He's got daughters.
Of course.
So everybody looks at it like, damn. Kobe Bryant, one of the best, if not the best basketball player alive, has daughters, and he's got nobody to pass that on to. And he has his first daughter, Natalia, and then Gigi comes around, Gianna. And she takes a loving to basketball, and it brought him back to the game. That's when we started to see him at games with Gigi, and just teaching her the ways of the game. But Kobe wasn't, in his NBA career, yeah, he was all about the NBA. He was a legend in that. But his post career, he started making the WNBA a big thing. You saw him at WNBA games. You saw him at women's college basketball games. I mean, you saw with UConn, the best women's college basketball team.
That's where she wanted to go.
That's where she wanted to go. And they actually made up a jersey, and they put it on the bench for her. Watching the tape.
It's things like that. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's things like that. That there are times where you read these reports of different articles coming out, and you're like, wow, this world is really turning into crap. But then you see something like that and the things that people are able to do, and it just shows that there is a light.
Yeah.
And not everyone is out there to get the next person, and we're all human beings here, folks, and we all show emotions, all different kinds, and to see things like I saw from UConn, it was just an amazing thing to see. And it's just amazing that people would go out of their way to be able to put a tribute like that. It's inspiring. Even with him being gone now, just showing different ways that, to inspire others, to be, the best that you can be.
Yeah.
And obviously Gigi and Gianna, she had a goal, and her goal was to play for UConn and then hopefully the WNBA. And she had a father that was extremely supportive and obviously went to crazy lengths to get her to where she would have needed to put herself in a situation to go to UConn. So it's really sad. But it also shows the amazing side of Kobe Bryant that you didn't see on NBC or on ESPN on the court at
Staples Center.
At the Staples Center. Sorry, I couldn't. I don't really like that building too much. So
he played at two buildings. He had the Forum in his early career, and then he's the Staples Center, the building that Kobe built.
I think it's amazing that you saw these teams doing a 24-second shot clock to
an 8-second backcourt violation.
Both numbers he wore.
Dinwiddie, he just changed his jersey number.
The Dallas Mavericks
from 8 to 26 now, which some people, because he said that it was with his son, just the number or whatever, 26. But then you think about it, Gigi's number was 2, Kobe's was 24. 24 plus 2, 26.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look at it that way. A lot of people, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, over 2 million people have signed a petition to change the NBA logo to Kobe. Jerry West, who is the logo, drafted Kobe Bryant. So, a lot of people feel like maybe he should pass the torch. That would be fantastic.
I think it would be amazing.
And what Mark Cuban did, as you said, retiring the number 24 overall is, that's a class act right there. That's a classy move by Mark Cuban.
No, of course.
I'll be interested to see if, there's talks about maybe the whole NBA retiring the number 24 and possibly the number 8. I mean, he played 10 seasons on both those numbers. So,
24 is my number too. It's a sick number.
Yeah.
It's my favorite number.
And like I said, he, with his daughter, he was so, as you said, supportive, but he was such a, just imagine having Kobe Bryant, a legend of a basketball player, having him as your coach.
Of course.
and you started to see Gigi had his exact moves, his fadeaway, his, driving to the basket, just everything at the age of 13. And in an interview, I think it was on the Players Tribune, he said, I have a 6-year plan that I have written down for practices for these girls. And he's like, I'm only in year 2. He's like, these girls, the first practices we started doing was on footwork. And I taught them things that took me years to learn. And he's like, they know it at the age of 11. Now, obviously, they're 13. But, just the father that he was, having, it's sad that he just, they just gave birth to another daughter in June, which is heartbreaking that this little girl will never know her father. Granted, she has a hell of a lot of videos to see, when it comes to Kobe Bryant. But the guy also won an Oscar. I mean, he was just starting, as people say, his second act. And most people feel that he was going to be greater at this than he was at basketball. And that's saying something. But the NBA superstar, the NBA player of today, they looked up to Kobe. The early 80s, basically 80s, early 90s, everybody looked up to Michael. Mid 90s to mid 2000s, everybody's looking up to Kobe. So these kids now that are playing in the NBA today, as you saw, a lot of them heartbroken. The main one, Kyrie Irving. There was an interview, another thing that I saw, that they asked him, who's your number one player that you're mentoring? And he's like, I have a lot, but he's like, my guy, that's Kyrie. So it's sad. He when he found out about the news, he didn't play that night. The Lakers and the Clippers were supposed to play tonight. This is Tuesday as we're recording. Supposed to play tonight. That game is canceled. I'm interested to see, how Friday's going to be. It's Blazers Lakers Friday night. I want to see how that all plays out. It's going to be incredibly sad. It's going to probably be the first time that we're going to see LeBron publicly. He put out an Instagram comment or app caption and pictures and everything yesterday. It was actually really nice. And, as everybody knows, as I said, I'm a Kobe guy. And everybody knows that I'm not a LeBron guy, And I was one of those Kobe lovers, LeBron haters for a very long time. And then I was perplexed because now he's on my team. But now I can never compare. I can never have that argument of Kobe and LeBron, mainly because if you go on any piece of social media of Kobe Bryant's, his last post of every single one of them was about LeBron. So he is forever indebted with LeBron James. And I just want to see the Lakers win a championship this year. Not only because I'm a Lakers fan, but just what that's going to mean to LA, what that's going to mean to the Lakers organization, what's that going to mean to LeBron, what that's going to mean to Anthony Davis. It still saddens me, that this guy is gone. And, again, like over and over, just watching all the videos, I just keep saying, like, this guy's not supposed to die. He's too big. It's not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen. and you could see what kind of impact he's had because, I mean, AC Milan did a tribute. Other sports like soccer, which he was actually big at, he was, the guy basically was able to speak every single language, in America or whatever. But, I wanted to look at a few things, when it comes to Kobe. 5-time champion, 18-time All-Star, 12-time All-Defensive player, which is one of the biggest things that I look at when it comes to Kobe because nobody looks at him as a defensive player. And the guy made the 12 times all-time defensive.
Well, that's how you become a great player.
Yeah.
Anyone could score 50 points a night, but if you're able to defend the team's opposing top player, it makes you great in every regard.
2-time scoring champ, 15-time All-NBA, 96-97 All-Rookie, 2-time Finals MVP, 1-time MVP of the league, which he should have won 4 other times, but he was robbed. But as a Lakers fan on the East Coast, Kobe and the Lakers have cost me a whole lot of sleep, staying up, because every game, from West Coast to East Coast, every game for a Lakers game is 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So it was tough. But, a few games that, ring out in my mind. My favorite, which, not many people look at, but my favorite was the game winner against the Suns in 2006. They were down by 2 with 7.9 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Suns with the ball. Smush Parker ends up stealing the ball. Kobe lays it up, ties the game up. They go into overtime. Comes down to 6 seconds left. The Lakers are down by 1. And Kobe hits the game-winning jump shot from his spot. Like, that was his spot. And, everybody just remembers the fist. That was his thing. And, you're looking at that team. That team was, Smush Parker. I think Kwame Brown was a part of that game. Like, that team was just, it was sad. And, the Suns were the 2 seed. Lakers were the 7 seed. The Lakers, after that game, took a 3-1 lead. They ended up losing that in Game 7. But everybody loves the alley-oop. Against the Blazers in 2000, they were down 15 in the fourth quarter in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. I think, and that was their first time going for their championship of their three-peat. That alley-oop was 40 seconds left to give them a 6-point lead that ended up clinching it. The 81-point game against Toronto. The 62-point game against Dallas in 3 quarters. And at that time, the Lakers were up 62-61. The fact that, actually, Kobe scored 62, and the Mavericks only had 61 points. So that was pretty funny. The 61-point game against the Knicks in 2009, his game winner over Dwayne Wade in 2004, he tears his Achilles, shoots 2 free throws. And that the thing that kills me about that year was they went on such a run towards the end of the season. They were out of the playoffs, and then they go on an 8-2 run in their last 10. Kobe gets hurt in game 80, and they end up getting swept by the Spurs in the first round. But, and then his final game, his 60-point game, and I watched it last night because ESPN played it, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it too.
Just watching that game and how the trouble that he had earlier in the game, because he went 0 for 5, but then scores 15 points at the end of the, in 5 minutes at the end of the first, and then what he did at the end of the game. But I'm not even gonna get into the other times that he should have won MVP. But just that was Kobe. Kobe was just unbelievable in every single sense, and the reason why the reason you can see how big of a person he was, like not just a player but a person. The biggest game in sports is coming up at the end of this week. The Super Bowl. Have you heard any word of the Super Bowl? At any point, whether it be sports channels, sports radio, anything. Kobe has taken over the Super Bowl.
Well, it's because an entire country is mourning right now. It's like I said, it's you can't be you couldn't have disliked Kobe Bryant as a player more than me, but even I'm mourning it because it's he was just a very inspiring person, and honestly, even when it comes to doing this show with you and trying to make moves in life, we understand that hard work is gonna be able to get you through, and he was a big believer of that, and he showed it. Yeah. His entire career, like you said, with all the the work that he put in practice and mimicking his game to Michael Jordan. He inspires me. He definitely inspires you, and he inspires so many people in this country with the different quotes that he's had over the years and his amazing speeches, and he's just a well-spoken, an amazing person, and he'll certainly be missed.
Absolutely. And as much as I could sit here and just talk about Kobe, I'm actually proud of myself that I actually held it in, talking about him. Because even just even today, just watching some videos, like, as much as I try to be a man, the guy he was my childhood. That's who you looked up to. And like I said, I don't think something like this has happened in sports ever. I mean, the only things that you can think of are maybe Thurman Munson passing away, Roberto Clemente passing away, but I don't think they had the touch on every single person like Kobe Bryant did. And it's sad. It's sad. It still doesn't seem real. After you told me, like I was going to say before, after you told me, I kind of shut down. I was just upset. And I was sitting there just watching the news and just, listening to, different things. And, Nicole, my fiance, was sitting there and she's like, why are you getting upset? Like you didn't even know the guy. And, people that, and I'm not saying she's not a big sports person. Everything that she knows about sports or anything that she gets into with sports is mainly because of me. And she does it because, she loves me, which is, she's out of her mind. But, people that really aren't into sports, or in my case, that, aren't a Lakers fan, don't understand. I was born in 1990, so when Kobe came into the league, I was 6 years old. Just right around the time that you kind of start picking up sports, if you're a sports person.
Well, I could promise you there's a lot of people out there that might not be the biggest sports fans, but, this still hurts because there's a lot that this man did off the court as well. And, honestly, just because you didn't know the man doesn't mean that he still wasn't your hero or that he was, an inspiration. And, how you feel in those situations. And obviously, it's unfortunate. This really does suck in many ways.
It's a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, but when you're, when you look up to someone your entire life, I have people in my life that I looked up to growing up, and I still look up to them to this day, and, you don't know how you're going to handle when you lose, a hero of yours or, any kind of an inspiration for yourself. So, you never have to, you wouldn't have to answer to anyone as to why you feel the way you feel. It's just, it's a situation, that's, it's unique. And I know I use that word a lot, but it's the truth. This was very unexpected. This was very shocking and very unfortunate. But he won't be forgotten.
No.
And that's the beauty of this. And I could take a piece of paper right now and find a garbage can anywhere around here, and the first words I'm going to be saying are Kobe.
Yeah.
And that'll be a thing that will never die.
No.
And I think that's an amazing aspect as well. And again, it just shows that the world we live in is it's an amazing one. And it's filled with people that are going to show emotion and show grief, and at times like this, I bet you he's sitting up there right now, not wanting people to be upset about this, but to keep the name living forever. And I think there's no doubt about it. I think between his Hall of Fame induction and shooting a little piece of paper into a garbage can, it'll allow his name to live on forever. And so that his family, who again, I'm at a loss of words for how sorry I feel for them. But like you said, he has a daughter that's not even a year old yet. But if people continue to bring up her father and continue to shoot paper into a little garbage can saying his name, that what, she might not have known her father, but she will know of him.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most inspiring thing of it all.
My final thoughts on Kobe Bryant, and just talking about him, on the show, before we get into the Super Bowl, because we got to talk about the Super Bowl. But
it's a Super Bowl show.
Yeah.
Super Bowl's in a couple of days.
My final thoughts are, I kind of hate that something like this has to happen for people to feel or say that they love somebody, that a loved one, whether, it's you're going through some stuff with that person, a loved one, or you're not talking to a loved one. I hate that there's that something like this has to happen, that now you have to go and talk to that person and, say you love them, because, loved ones, family members, close friends, it shouldn't take something like this, something of a tragedy, an unexpected loss of a life, to say you love someone. So I feel like every day of your life that, you're on this earth, tell the people that you love, tell your loved ones, your family members, your close friends, that you love them. I mean, nothing is big enough to overcome your love for someone.
Absolutely.
So now it's Super Bowl time. Now I got to try to get back into the energetic,
Then I'll start it off. let you get a little bit of a second or two there. That was it's a very emotional subject, and
we just went 45 minutes on something very sad.
Of course, because it's something that is well deserved, because he was a great man.
Absolutely.
But as we go to Sunday.
Running up the score, picks and predictions
for the Super Bowl.
It's Super Bowl time throughout the entire country as well. The big day is coming this Sunday. It's the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. And, from our last show last week, you were able to understand that I am clearly going for the Kansas City Chiefs on the basis that I have no idea how you stop Patrick Mahomes. And the San Francisco 49ers probably have the best weapons to take care of that. Of course, that Kansas City has faced throughout the entire playoffs. But again, it's so difficult to go against Patrick Mahomes at this point. And it's not taking anything away from the 49ers. I think the 49ers are a great team, and they have a great chance to win this game. They have a great team. Honestly, I think majority of the country actually likes the 49ers. But I'm just not a guy that's going to go against Patrick Mahomes. It's impossible to do from my own perspective because I've never seen anything like what I'm seeing out of Patrick Mahomes. And, people are trying to compare numbers and, did he have a down year? Yeah, of course he had a down year. He was hurt for about 2 or 3 weeks before he got his serious knee injury, then was out 3 games, and then came back coming off a knee injury, which I think any player of any sport ever coming off an injury, you're not going to be the same player that you were beforehand. And I think for Patrick Mahomes, I think he's way beyond this knee injury. I think it's really way in the back of his mind. And you're going to see the Patrick Mahomes that's ready to go and ready to run. Because let me tell you something, folks. That run that he had last week.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And the second I saw that, I went, oh my God, like I said on the show. But another thing I said was, wow, he's back.
Yeah.
And good luck to the rest of the NFL when this guy is 100% healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, so the question is, can Jimmy Garoppolo actually outplay Patrick Mahomes? The answer is absolutely not. It's not going to happen.
It's possible.
It's not going to happen.
It's possible, but it's not going to happen.
So
I think Garoppolo's been a great quarterback. I think a lot of people are really underestimating what he's done for them.
He is
capable.
Yeah, I guess the way that and it's the same narrative on beating the Chiefs. Keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. And it's going to come down to the 49ers running the ball. They have to run the ball. I know they're not going to get 220 yards out of, Mostert again. But
let me tell you something. Shanahan is an amazing play caller.
He really is.
The way he's able to set up that running game has been amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, I know they were one of the worst teams last year. But I was super impressed with how the 49ers performed last year with quarterbacks that I can't name for you right now because, one, I don't have it in front of me, and two, they were not well known in any regard, and they still put points on the board. Their defense was actually a liability last year. Obviously, Nick Bosa took easy work of that, hence the reason you went after someone like Nick Bosa, second pick overall in the draft. But it had nothing to do with that offense. Their offense was surprisingly well. I know because just like last year, the year before that, I had played fantasy football. I said, oh, look, the Seahawks are taking on the 49ers. The 49ers offense, I can't even name their quarterback. Boom, Seahawks defense, going to put it right in. And I was disappointed. They found ways to score points. And I think that's the one thing about Shanahan that is, my God, absolutely impressive. I am the quarterback. Was it Beathard last year?
C.J. Beathard.
C.J. Beathard. And they were putting up points. I was watching every game. They were putting up points. Now you get someone like Garoppolo who is well capable. Came in and had an amazing end of the season last year. Comes in this season and doesn't even skip a beat. And you know what? The world isn't axed of Jimmy Garoppolo. They don't need the Patrick Mahomes performance whatsoever to win games. There's formulas to win in the NFL. And one formula that will never die will be run the football and play defense. Because when it comes down to it, you could be as great as Patrick Mahomes is. And I know they're playing in Miami, Florida, where it's going to be no concern when it comes to weather.
We can find out right now.
Well, granted, if there's rain, I mean, we're talking like freezing temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
Because, folks, when you go to catch a football that gets fired at you in very cold weather, the passing game isn't as locked up as you think it will be. And you'll see teams, great teams, who put up points and points and points all year long. But the second they got to play in that really cold weather, the passing game cannot be leaned on in those kind of conditions. But the running game certainly can. And that's why that formula of running the football and playing defense has led to success in the NFL for many years, despite the great numbers you've seen from Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers even had some great years. Tony Romo had some great years. Eli Manning had some great years. And some of those guys won Super Bowls, so credit to them. But I promise you that Eli Manning did not win an amazing amount of Super Bowls because of his own performance. He did what was asked of him, and that defense took over. Peyton Manning, I personally believe that Peyton Manning is the best quarterback I have ever seen in my entire life. With the way his team was winning games every single season. And the fact that the 1 year he did not play, they didn't win a single game. And it led to the Andrew Luck era in Indianapolis. All right, and people forget that. That's how important Peyton Manning was to his team. And the only time that Peyton Manning ended up winning a championship at that point with the Indianapolis Colts, he had a couple of guys named Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis on the outside. Anyone who's anyone knows who those gentlemen were. They were amazing pass rushers, which led to an amazing defense, which is what you need to win in the NFL. A passing game, again, will only get you so far because you could be the greats. And I personally don't think Tom Brady, despite that one season he had of amazing passing, with Randy Moss and Wes Welker and that unstoppable offense, that's the 1 year he didn't even win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The years with Corey Dillon and the great defenses with Ty Law and, who's that head coach for Tennessee right now? What's his name? Vrabel. He was on there as well. They were great defenses in New England. There's a big reason. Teddy Bruschi.
Yeah.
They had great players on defense. Hence why the New England Patriots won so many Super Bowls. And hence why a lot of people love the San Francisco 49ers right now.
Absolutely.
It's not because of Patrick Mahomes. People don't care about Patrick Mahomes right now. What's going to win you a championship is a defense. It always will come down to that. You need to be able to stop the opposing team.
Yeah.
I just personally don't believe it's possible to stop Patrick Mahomes. That's why my love for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game exists.
Well, obviously we got to bring up some stats. So right now, it dropped down to 1, the line. 54 and a half. It makes sense.
People don't know. Vegas does not know who's going to win this game.
So San Francisco's got the 4th best offense. Kansas City has the 17th best defense. San Francisco is 2nd running. Kansas City's 26th versus the run. San Francisco is 13th passing. Kansas City is 8th versus the pass. And San Francisco is 2nd in points.
I don't like looking at these things. You look at this a lot.
You gotta kind of look at it.
I understand, but that can be so miscued.
Oh, absolutely.
Just on the basis of one game.
San Francisco is 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 games. San Francisco is 4-1 straight up in its last 5 games. Kansas City is 7-0 against the spread in the last 7 games.
Wow.
So,
so I'm looking for 8 in a row with that win with the Kansas City Chiefs.
The total.
Sick. Thanks for telling me that.
The total has hit the under in 4 of Kansas City's last 7 games. And
the under?
Yes. The total has hit the under. Oh. So San Francisco is averaging 30.2 points per game, including the playoffs. That's number 2 in the NFL. San Francisco is surrendering 18.9 points per game, including the playoffs. Kansas City is averaging 29.8 points per game, including the playoffs, and Kansas City is surrendering 20.2 points per game, including the playoffs. So if you're looking at this game stats-wise, this is a very close game. Both teams are very close. We're obviously talking about the better defense being San Francisco. We're talking about the better offense being Kansas City. But offense, it's a very close matchup when it comes to it. But
again, those numbers are skewed because
Pat Mahomes
missed a bunch of games and was injured for another half of games. So I'm not going to base it on any numbers, folks. If you're looking to bet this game and you're looking at things like this, I mean, come on. Because they can be misskewed. I mean, they talked about the Jets having the worst defense in football based on that one game they had against the New England Patriots. Yeah. Now, we all know that there were different miscues on offense that led to them getting the ball deep in their zone. And it's very difficult to play defense when you're starting to drive from your opponent's 30.
Yeah.
Or from your own 30. My apologies. But, when I see those numbers, I understand. But the Kansas City Chiefs, there's no doubt about it, are the number one offense in all of football, and they don't even, like we said last week, they don't even own a running back. So, the 49ers have, again, like we said, so do the Tennessee Titans. They have the formula to knock this team off. I'm just never going to go against Patrick Mahomes. That's just going to be, I could be a Jet fan, and, it could be such a huge game, and we're taking on the Chiefs. I am not going to be a confident individual. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is doing that right now. Yeah. That's how good he's been. Lamar Jackson's heading up there as well. The only team that can feel like they have a hope at this point will be the Baltimore Ravens next year, barring that Tom Brady doesn't return to New England, which I don't even know if that's going to make a difference at this point.
So, Kansas City favored by 1. Kansas City is favored by 1. Who do you have?
Kansas City.
Kansas City -1. I am going with Kansas City as well, -1. So there you have it. Running up the score has picked Kansas City to win the Super Bowl.
Are you going to put like a big thing out there? It's going to just say Kansas City Chiefs on it?
Yeah, Kansas City Chiefs.
It's going to be all fancy.
2020
right here.
Super Bowl.
So I'm going to point at it.
2020 Super Bowl champions as per running up the score. I'm hoping my boxes hit.
I just looked and I got a 5 on one of mine.
I have 6 and 2.
Yeah, Kobe.
Kobe. So now, now that we picked our teams here,
that was really good.
That was, right?
It was good and right in so many ways. So
now is to the fun part of the Super Bowl is the prop bets. These are the best. We're going to start off with the national anthem. How long will it take Demi Lovato to sing the national anthem? The over 2 minutes is -230.
Absolutely over 2 minutes. I'm just kidding, folks. Again, I have no idea.
Under.
Oh, yeah? Is that the truth?
Well, if you look at because they actually have stats on these things. The last, I think, 3 or 4 times that Demi Lovato has sang the national anthem at a sports event, she has been under 2 minutes.
And that's the under over right now, 2 minutes?
2 minutes is the over.
Even money?
Yes. Well, no, it's actually -230. Under 2
So why
minutes,
not lower the number then?
Under 2 minutes is +160. So.
Oh, so they actually say the over is.
Yeah, the over is the favorite.
Despite the fact of all that research that you've done on Demi Lovato.
Will Demi Lovato be wearing a skirt, dress, or gown to sing these are the type of things that we, will she forget a word?
No.
Will she be holding the microphone or the microphone be on a stand?
Wow.
Will the microphone color be black? Will any player take a knee during the national anthem? Will any scoring drive take less time than it takes Demi Lovato to sing the national anthem?
That's a thing? How am I supposed to keep track of that? I'm going to time her and then all of a sudden time the first.
Yeah. The distance of the longest penalty.
Wow.
How many public Instagram posts will Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend post on February 2nd? How many TikToks will Patrick Mahomes' brother make on February 2nd? How many times will Patriots 28-3 comeback be mentioned? Which it should be mentioned because obviously Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons during that game.
Well, at least he'll know if he's up 28-3, you don't have it locked. Yeah. And I promise you, against Patrick Mahomes, you will not have it locked if you're up 28-3 at the end of the first half.
So you have the MVP. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the favorite is Patrick Mahomes, but actually, it's not a minus. It's actually +150. Time remaining on the clock after the first score is in the first quarter.
Yeah, we get it. There's plenty of things to bet on in the Super Bowl. It's what makes the Super Bowl what it is.
Total Donald Trump tweets. Let's see. What will happen to the price of Bitcoin? What color will... This is my favorite. What color liquid... Actually, it will be Gatorade. What color Gatorade will be poured on the game-winning coach?
I love that they have
The
purple.
favorite-
It's such a big dog.
Yeah, I
like,
know.
why it's even mentioned purple grape.
The favorite right now is red. Lime green or yellow, which is kind of the same, is the second.
I think I guessed it last year. Wasn't it orange last year?
I think it might have been orange.
It was orange, and I think I took blue. I don't know. I like blue. I mean, blue's my favorite Gatorade. So, yeah, of course I'm going to bet that to think that it's going to win. It was one of those pools where it's like a sheet like this. You fill it out, and there's a whole bunch of answers, and they keep track of everything.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Let's see. Who will the Super Bowl MVP mention first in his speech? A teammate, coach, God, city, owner, family member?
I figured he would start with a thank you. Oh,
Will-
who's the first person going to thank?
Who will Andy Reid coach the Super Bowl in a Hawaiian shirt?
That's so funny.
Will Andy Reid eat a cheeseburger before the end of the Super Bowl broadcast?
I actually thought that'd be, because that was really funny what he said. They said, how did you celebrate your Super Bowl berth? And he said, I just had a cheeseburger and I went to bed. Amen, dude.
Will Dave Portnoy get kicked out of the Super Bowl? Will Donald Trump attend the game? Will Nike release a commercial with Colin Kaepernick? Will a fan run onto the field? Will a non-quarterback throw a touchdown?
That's a good bet.
Yeah, I mean
would bet that.
these are hilarious. You go to bovado.lv and you can see this whole line. Will the Super Bowl winning team visit the White House? Will there be a safety in the first half? That was funny because that happened in the Broncos Seahawks game. So if anybody.
I know
'cause
so
if
many
you
people
pick
that I remember that game. There's so many people I know had really good numbers on their boxes, and they
And it
almost were
screwed
just
them.
like,
Yeah.
Kobe. That's amazing. You did that before. Holy crap! It was so funny.
Because if you actually pick that there's a safety in the game, that's minus 2,500 for a no. It's plus 800 for a yes.
It's not even that good. It's 8 to 1.
Yeah, I know. It really isn't.
Should make that 100 to 1.
Which
What are the
commercial will appear first, Audi or Porsche? Like Coca-Cola or SodaStream. Donald Trump or Mike Bloomberg. Michelob Ultra or Michelob Pure Gold. It's just
You're losing me now. You're losing me with these.
These are hilarious. Like these, if you want to have a good laugh, especially after the tough times that we've been having, with the loss of Kobe Bryant. Just look up the prop bets on Bovado. It's quite hilarious. My favorite prop bet. Now you're gonna pick your favorite prop bet. I'm gonna pick mine. My favorite is the color of the Gatorade.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
I like that one.
I thought that was funny that they showed purple.
Yeah.
I thought that was absolutely hysterical. I mean, what are the odds that that you would actually have purple as an option?
And they actually have real prop bets as well. Like, they actually have some that are out of, like, it's cross sports. So, like, the first one we have here is LeBron James and Anthony Davis total points. Will it equal, will it be over Debo Samuel's receiving yards or under?
That's
like
funny.
that. Those are funny. But that's going to do it. Most of this show, it's funny if you look at the wave of, the sound waves of our show today. We did about an hour. We're going to probably push it about an hour and 10 minutes for about 48 minutes of that. It's a low grade wave. But you can tell when we're talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So
you
you
could
could just-
definitely tell when we were talking about the Super Bowl.
So, you could just see what kind of, what kind of show this is. And I hope, everybody enjoys it. We want to hear, on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to do. We want to hear what you have to say about Kobe. Whether, you actually met him, were able to talk to him, your memories of Kobe Bryant. We love to hear it all. You can even call us, leave a voicemail, 516-324-8725, and we'll play them on the air. next week. We're going to discuss the Super Bowl next week. And, if it comes down to it, we'll discuss some Kobe Bryant because I love talking about him. So, it's the perfect way, as we said before. It sucks. And, we got to remember the good times, of Kobe Bryant, and there was a lot of them. So, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, to Gigi Bryant, to the Out the Belly family, to the Chester family, to the Mauser family, to the Pilots family, everybody, that's my condolences. I'm sure Kevin's condolences to
Absolutely.
the families. It's a tough time, and all we hope is that it could get better. And I really hope it does, especially for Vanessa Bryant and Capri and Natalia. So that will do it. I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
I'm not going to say be breezy this week.
Okay.
I'm going to say Mamba out.
Mamba out. Be breezy.
That's good.
And it is all over.
You've been listening to Running Up the Score. We run up the score on sports radio. For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.